Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Theatre Pitch podcast. My name is Jem. This is Sean.
Hello, Jemma.
And this is Joe.
Howdy.
And this is an Ed Fringe special, so this is our special guest, Jenny.
Hello.
So, this is a very special episode. This is the podcast where we take a random online encyclopedia article and each of us come up with a pitch of how we would turn it into a theatre show. But because this is the Ed Fringe special, we need to turn it into an Ed Fringe show. So that's the only other rule, is we've got to figure out what venue we would put this in at the Edinburgh Fringe. But first, before we do that, I want to properly introduce Jenny, because Jenny came with us to the Fringe way back when, in 2015, when OFitD Productions took a show called Cats and Dogs Give the Best Advice, and Jenny was our wonderful and amazing narrator, who absolutely, I loved it. I loved everything that you did. It was fantastic. I had the honour of directing Jenny, and now you are an actor in The Big Smoke, London, and a musician. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I've just graduated MA Music Theatre from Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. Yes, I'm an actor, mostly do musical theatre, love a good bit of Shakespeare, and I'm currently writing some music in the style of folk to Shakespeare texts, so that's my current creative project, which I'm going to try and make official at some point in the future.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I've gotten really into folk songs of sort of the world, and I'm really enjoying Mongolian folk at the moment.
Fair.
and Shakespeare. Adore Shakespeare.
Oh, so it's like the perfect mix. Yeah, I never thought I'd get into folk music, because my mum always loved folk music, and I was like, ew, folk music. And now I'm old, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Out of interest, based on Jem's two current obsessions, have you considered doing some like Mongolian throat singing, but to Shakespeare?
Oh, I mean, I'm more of a classical singer, so that would be a different vibe going on. But I can always try.
We're gonna do a mashup. But until then, Joe, segue. Do you want to tell the audience and us, or mainly you, what the article is for this episode?
Well, yeah,
Hang on, Jem. Maybe I've got a question to ask about Shakespeare.
Okay.
You know, I like Shakespeare, Jem. Maybe more than you.
I mean, you. I know you love Shakespeare, but when I turn around and say I'm really into Mongolian folk music, you had a look of, I need to get over this for a minute.
Hey, guys. I'd find out stuff about Jem each week, and this is another one. I actually do have a question. Out of like the different types of different plays of Shakespeare, so you've got your histories, you've got your comedies, tragedies. Which is the one you prefer to make the music for? Is there one that sort of says like, oh, the songs are better if it's Much Ado About Nothing, or do you prefer like doing a bit of Macbeth?
So I've quite a lot of Twelfth Night. I think it's a good mix of a bit of sad girl songs and a bit of happy. When I've like chosen the text, I've tried not to like choose the same play, but I've keep going to Twelfth Night for some reason. But yeah, in terms of like the mood, I have gone for quite happy vibes most of the time. So I am wanting to do a few more sad songs, because that is more how I just sing most of my songs. Most of my musical theatre rep is sad, and my mum was once like, you need to pick happier songs, Jenny. So yeah.
Oh, I would love, and I would absolutely love to see Titus Andronicus as a happy song, or even a sad song. I find that play genuinely hilarious. I feel like it's a dark comedy more than it is the tragedy everybody bills it as.
It is a bit much. I watched it because the RSC recently, well, not recently, a few years ago, streamed it. I watched it with my parents, and yeah, almost a bit too much.
Yeah. I once did a few Shakespeare extracts sort of on promenade, and our interval was Titus Andronicus, and we served cherry pies and wine or grape juice, and then just had the sign saying introducing Titus Andronicus, and not a lot of people in the audience understood it, but those who did couldn't finish their pies.
I see. It's like a dark side of Waitress the musical. If you've ever seen Waitress, they have they bake pies and you eat pies.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So Joe,
But
do you want
I was going
Go
to say, before we start all just, getting on our soapboxes about Shakespeare,
Hey.
today's article that we're talking about is Soapbox. A soapbox is a raised platform on which one stands to make an impromptu speech, often about a political subject. The term originates from the days when speakers would elevate themselves by standing on a wooden crate, originally used for the shipment of soap or other dried goods from manufacture to a retail store. And yeah,
That's our. Is there more, Joe?
I was just going to say that, of course, we've got two people here who will have more insight potentially into this, currently being Londoners, of the fact that its term is apparently originates from a term of get off your soapbox, often hurled at people who would orate in Hyde Park of London.
Yes. There is still Soapbox Corner, I think it's called, in Hyde Park.
Speaker's Corner, yeah.
Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park Corner. And if you want to go listen to some entertaining thoughts on things, you've just got to go to the one corner and it's being shouted at you most of the day. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic, but also disruptive if you're not in the mood.
Did anyone else just see Jem get out Londonered?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take much to out-London me. I have lived there for approximately 2 weeks, so...
Yes. Okay, so, is there anybody who is particularly wanting to go first with their idea?
You know what? Because there's been a lull in silence, I'm going to go first and just see what happens.
Yay! Joe, hit us.
And also, I'm going first because I think I've got the kernel of an idea, and I don't want someone else to take it first.
Fair enough.
So, I was thinking about what this idea brings to mind, and especially what it brings to mind in terms of the Fringe. And that is that there is, I'm sure that this might be brought up more by kind of like, Sean I know loves these sort of shows, the sort of ones where you get kind of like mixed bills where it will be a different type of show every day but on a similar theme. Like there was one called Stand Up Tragedy a few years ago I went to see, where the idea was it was different speakers each day, but the idea was you were doing kind of stand-up, but it wasn't necessarily comedic. It was kind of more utilising that form to do dramatic storytelling. Or is it Skeptics on the Fringe that you love, Sean?
Skeptics on the Fringe, yep.
Yes.
In the basement of the Banshee Labyrinth.
Yeah, and these sort of kind of like mixed bill shows where the idea is essentially using this platform to approach different ideas, to take that spirit of the soapbox to confront issues of religion, of politics, of the world. And also, what I really love is when you're going around Edinburgh and you see a bloke who's just cordoned off a circle in the middle of the street and says, I'm going to do some basketball tricks now. So
He's so good though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so good. So what I kind of want to do is combine those two ideas of seeing, is there a way of us taking like a kind of troupe of performers, of like gymnasts, and using it as a way of visualizing kind of soapbox political speaking. So we use this in order to kind of, we appear upon various street corners, areas where we're able to get enough space to do it, like kind of around Grassmarket perhaps, and take up one of those spaces that normally would have been done by just people doing kind of gymnastics or playing instruments and stuff, and use it to perform a variety of things, approaching issues that need to be discussed, providing discourse on issues, providing like considering even the heart of the soapbox oratory as its idea is related very much to I think it's to the Westminster Socialists. So I thought, what if we did this kind of almost discussing things like socialism and the history of socialism in the UK, but through a mixture of political speech and gymnastics and basketball tricks. Any questions?
Would the
I think
gymnasts... Sorry.
Go on, Jenny. Go on.
Would the gymnasts also be doing the basketball tricks?
If they can, yes.
Ah, I see.
So now I assumed that they would be making the hoops.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, just using their faces as the backboard.
Yeah, it wouldn't have to be basketballs. It could be like the blokes who are like, look, I've set a sword on fire and I'm juggling it, or
So are you imagining like an array of buskers?
yeah, I'm imagining this being something where we tell an array of different stories, kind of, and utilize it as almost kind of. You could almost think of having it be something where some people have their shows prepared in terms of what things they can do. Some people have their speeches prepared, if they have like half an hour of content. And then we put them together on the day and see what happens when you put these two things together.
Can you give me an example of like one? So like, how are you gonna make the basketball man like get across like socialism's good? How do we do that?
Well, the first thought that comes to mind is utilizing, obviously, kind of, we could do something around trickle-down economics and the kind of decline of the 1980s, but utilizing actually kind of like building a human pyramid and having various objects trickling down and seeing how the thing is that actually what we actually just see is objects bouncing off the heads of the people the further down it goes, to represent how much trickle down actually hurts the people the further down the social ladder you go.
Damn, I thought I got ya, but
I'm really enjoying that Joe is taking hardcore like physical theatre principles and theories and applying it to social politics and basketball.
Yeah, it's much like the idea of this show. It's a mixed bag with me. Sometimes I just pull something out of the hat. Sometimes the hat's completely empty. This time, luckily, there was something in the hat.
Fair enough. I'm genuinely intrigued. Cool.
Yeah.
I have
Great.
a question. I know you said you kind of maybe would make it up on the day kind of situation, but would there be a chance for each busker, like if an audience member were to see every busker, there'd be some sort of theme running through and like some sort of end game that's happening?
Good question.
I'm going to now say yes and pretend that that's something I thought of beforehand. And say, good thing that you noticed that idea. I definitely had.
What? I have a question, Joe. What's it called?
Um,
And what's the blurb that would go in the big book?
I think I think I'd just go simple and call it Soapbox Theatre or Soapbox Theatricals. And base it around the very idea of it is the notion of the one consistent is at the centre of this circle, wherever it appears, there is a soapbox and there is someone stood on the soapbox in the middle. And it's whatever's going on around them can be whatever happens. But the very core element of it is at the centre, there is someone expressing some form of truth.
I like it. Okay. Cool. All right. That's Joe.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else wanting to... Are you going next, yeah?
I'll go next.
Yeah?
I'll go next. Mine's a bit similar to Joe, so I'll go with it. Okay, so have you ever heard of Red Bull Soapbox Challenge?
No.
So my idea is nothing like that, but it did just come to my head then. I thought, oh, I missed the trick there.
What is it for me and the audiences, or do I not want to ask?
I think with the exception of Red Bull Formula One team, I think it's the best thing Red Bull have ever done.
Okay.
It's where I don't know why it's called Soapbox, and I don't know why I brought it up, but it just came to my head when Joe kept saying Soapbox. It's where they just get random people to build a car out of like some wood, some paper mache, and a shopping trolley, and then they fling it down a hill and see what happens.
Yes. That's
It
a
could
race.
work in Edinburgh as well because it is really hilly. Right.
It could.
This is like an extra bit. This is nothing to do. Oh, maybe you should do that.
Say no more because
Oh, sorry.
that's why my reaction was so violent. I was like, no.
So,
In that case, I won't go on to explain what the soapbox challenge is, just in case it comes up later.
So Sean, stick with your own pitch.
I feel, yeah. So my original idea was, again, I may be cheating because this technically isn't theatre, and this is technically me just like saying, oh, my idea is everyone else's idea. But you know how in Edinburgh, like when you go to the festival, there's like these random things that you sort of like don't really get why it's a thing, but it's there every year, like the gorilla costume thing.
Yes.
So I want to start a new tradition with a soapbox in Grassmarket, right? Yeah, Joe, we're all just copying everyone's idea. I wanted to put it in Grassmarket. My original
That's
idea
why I
was
got
like,
him first.
I originally thought like, oh, I should put it on like the Royal Mile, but I feel like there's too many people on the Royal Mile.
Yeah.
But you know how when you're on the Royal Mile and you're walking down and you see them platforms where you always get like the musical theatre people, the Glee people, that they're all like there saying, "Oh, this is our show. We're gonna sing a song. Everyone, come and watch our show." And then you just walk past, right? No one has ever gone to a show after seeing a preview on that thing. I don't think anyone has ever, because all they do is they get in the way when you're trying to go round the other people flying, right? So think that. But it's Grassmarket on a soapbox, and on every half an hour, for some reason, someone's going to be like dressed like a knight, because there's a castle in Edinburgh, like classic, ringing a bell. I'm going to have them ringing a bell like proper, and it's going to be like, hear ye, listen to X person. And that person has got 5 minutes to get on that soapbox and sell their show. Like proper pitch it. You know how everyone selling a show has got their little poster thing, and they're like, hey, this is my comedy show, and it's about this and it's about that. Oh, please listen, don't go away. Oh no, come back. It's that, but they've got 5 minutes to tell the whole of Grassmarket what their show is. On the half an hour, every day, and they've got to go for it. I don't know why there's a night there, because I just thought it'd be really cool if there was just something weird. And they've got a bell, so everyone's listening. And I've gone with Grassmarket, because if you put it like to the one side, behind Grassmarket, behind you would be like the road. And no one ever really walks that way unless they're trying to get round people with basketballs. People normally go the side where there's the pubs. So I thought you won't have anyone behind you. You will be telling the whole of Grassmarket. And that's my idea. My idea is other people telling everyone else about their ideas.
I like it. I would suggest, though, instead of 5 minutes, make it 2 minutes and put two to three people in a slot at a time. Otherwise, it'll get lost, because there are loads of flyers down in Grassmarket, and it can get really busy and really loud, and you've got the buskers. So if it's more like a...
No, I don't like that. I like the idea of like, it is just like one show on that half an hour. You've got the bow, and it's like, oh, what's this? It's not, and you don't want to be that second person, do you, going after the first person, because everyone will be gone then, because you'll be like ringing the bell again. You could do it every 15 minutes, but then I think like everyone would be like, oh, there's the knight and his bell again. Oh, who is it this time? Oh, it's some person trying to sell improv. Oh, here we go. Right, every half an hour, keep it. You've got you don't have to use your 5 minutes, Jemma. Like, it's like you just sell it. I know. I feel like I would like. Oh yeah, what's this all about?
Are you curating which shows are allowed to pitch, or are you just grabbing the nearest flyer?
It is literally the same system. Anyone who applies, if if they say sweet things in an email, I'll be like, yes, you can go up there first. And it's the same as everything you apply. Yeah, if it's remotely like popular there, yeah, you can do it. If it's just some dude who's like got this show called Nightmare, but it's not spelt with a K, and he's like really about, I hate that show. It's if it's that dude, he ain't going up there. But if it's someone like saying, oh, it's you know one of Quentin Tarantino's films, but it's like got a Scottish twist, he ain't going up there either. But everyone else, I'm all right with.
These seem oddly specific hypotheticals, Sean.
All I know is that I've seen 2 bad shows at the Edinburgh Fringe that I didn't like. Okay, and it's them 2. I've seen lots of crap at the Edinburgh Fringe, but I've always enjoyed it. But there's always been 2 shows where I've always gone like, oh my god, what is this? Right. Yeah. And I went to see it with you 2. Oh.
Fun fact, I'm not going to reveal who the comedian was because this could be considered defamatory if that's the case. But I one time saw a comedian so bad they made the person sitting next to me physically ill.
Ooh. Are you sure that was the comedian and not just the hangover that comes with being in Edinburgh in August?
Oh no. I was at the Fringe at the same time this person. They hadn't been drinking the night before, and they just saw this comedy that was so bad they actually felt physically ill leaving the show.
Brilliant. This is
I've
power
seen
of
that.
the Fringe.
When people leave shows, it's so funny. I was with someone, and I remember sitting there looking at this audience thinking, how have you sold out? How have you sold out? Then I fell asleep. Then I woke up again. And then I was like, how have you sold out? This is so bad. And then one of the people I was with had like the biggest Doc Martens on you'll ever see. And for some reason, they waited until it was really quiet. And then they just left, making the most noise you could ever think. And we were all there like, oh, are they okay? And we got out and they were just like, no, it was crap, so I left. Oh, okay. We didn't know that was an option.
This is the beauty. We've had people leave our shows.
Yeah. There was one time I saw a show that the one positive I took away from it was I was so bored that I remembered that I need to renew my rail card, and also that there was decent Wi-Fi at the venue, so I could also renew my rail card. So, yeah.
And guys, if you make this into a show, you can tell all of Edinburgh on the Soapbox. That is part of my idea for today's podcast. Boom. Circles. Yeah.
Circles. Fantastic.
Well, I'm yielding my time in terms of questions for this, considering I've just given 2 anecdotes. So.
Any other questions for Sean's idea?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure it's all there. I like it. It's simple, but it's effective.
I like it.
I'm confused by why there are knights, but also a town crier, but I'm not going to get into it.
When you said the knight thing, my first thought was, how are people just not going to get confused that it's a living statue? That was my first thought. Like, you know.
Or maybe he is a living statue, and then every half an hour he jumps off the soapbox.
He scares everyone.
Oh no, I imagined he'd just just take it off and go and have a cigarette in sight, and then come back and put it back on. He's like, oh, ring, 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 and then disappears. It is next to like 8 pubs. He's got something he can do in the half an hour.
And there's a very good Mexican restaurant.
And there's an ice cream shop as well.
I remember. I do like how Sean's. I like how Sean's like, oh, this guy. When if it's Sean's idea, I think Sean needs to be the one wearing the knight armor in the sun of August or the rain of Edinburgh August.
No, Jemma, because this is a hypothetical idea, and hypothetically, if this is happening, then me and Joe are going to be like finally at the Edinburgh Fringe, telling everyone about our fantastic show that we've been planning for like 4 years now.
True.
Okay.
True.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. Okay.
But also,
Well-
we're not giving away that brilliant idea
giving it away just yet.
on a free podcast.
No, we're just teasing it. We're just
Yeah.
teasing it.
Okay. So, from no questions for Sean, Jenny, do you want to go next, considering before Sean opens his mouth again?
So, kind of before we started recording, we started having an interesting conversation about what is theatre. So I'm going to preface my pitch with a little quote from Peter Brooks and his lovely book. My theatre degree from York is coming in handy here. So he says, opening line, "I can take any empty space and call it a bare stage. A man walks across the empty space whilst someone is watching him, and this is all that is needed for an act of theatre to be engaged." So that for me is what theatre is. Whatever anyone else thinks, that's what theatre is for me. So, and right?
I agree.
So soapboxes are inherently theatrical, right? So it could be as simple as whatever Sean and Joe's idea of just setting up a soapbox. No offence. But I kind of wanted to...
I mean, some taken, I'll be honest.
No.
Don't take it personally, Jenny.
I just want to add stakes to it. I want to make your idea better. That's what I want to do. So, I want it to, like, Soapbox meets Red Bull Soapbox race. That's what I want. And if we don't know what Soapbox is, even though Sean kind of ruined it for me, but it's fine. It's where you take, like, amateur drivers, they build a soapbox, like a motorless vehicle, and set it down an obstacle course, and the winner is whoever survives, basically, because they do tend to fall apart. So, I want it top of the Royal Mile to the bottom. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but it takes care of Sean's problem of, like, the random people performing, because we can just get rid of them. Get rid of the flyers. You're literally... It's just a derby track. That's what it is. So, these people have to... the contestants, audience members, I think, they have a topic that we can give them. And they have to build their car, get it down to the tracks, and the winner then can stand on their soapbox at the end and start a revolution in Edinburgh. That's the end game. It's not just, like, win the soapbox race, it's start a revolution in Edinburgh. And it's how much do you really want to start a revolution? That's my idea.
Ooh. I like that. It feels
Yes.
dangerous in a good but also scary way, which is always quite fun.
And I've just thought of another idea for Soapbox Theatre. It's entitled, "Being a millennial and trying to get on the property ladder is like trying to drive a boxcar down the Royal Mile."
I like it because you might not notice, Jemma, but a key aspect of Red Bull Soapbox is performance. They get extra points at the start while they're like, "Oh, this is my car, we're doing a scene, da 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 da." So I'm already on board. This is theatre. I'm already there. I feel like there should be, like, more of a reward for the winner. I feel like the winner should get, like, next year's Fringe. You get to have, like, the big venue at, like, the Pleasance or something.
So maybe the topic... Well, this maybe sounds a bit of a punishment, but maybe the topic that they've won with, that is their next show for the next Edinburgh Fringe, but they get to perform it at Pleasance. So...
It feels like that then turns it into the big elaborate... You don't pit normal punters towards each other. This is a performance of the flyers, so they have to build their car to get onto the soapbox to be able to pitch everybody their show.
So it's just Sean's idea, just massively extended.
Yeah,
Smushed.
I like it. We shouldn't get rid of the musical theatre people, like, trying to sing. We should use them as the obstacles.
Can I just say,
though.
when I was, like, coming up with ideas, one of my ideas was I wanted to think of revolutionary leaders, so I came up with Trotsky the musical, which would kind of be Henrik Ibsen's An Enemy of the People meets, in Friends when Joey has Freud the musical. It would be An Enemy of the People meets Freud the musical, but I haven't yet developed that.
That feels like such a Fringe show. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And funnily enough, I was just thinking to myself, if you were going to do a Trotsky musical, the perfect thing for it would be probably going for kind of like a kind of Gogol Bordello gypsy folk punk sound to it. That definitely seems the right sort of music for it. So, you know, that's just a free piece of advice you can have.
I'm enjoying how Joe's internet has just frozen. And to the rest of us, I don't know about you guys, but he's come through as saying, oh, it'll be like a goggle butt. Goggle butt is what I just heard.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, you'll find out what I said later in the edit. So.
I can't wait.
The big reveal.
The big reveal. Cool.
I like that.
I
like
it.
that. Jen's brought some like proper theatre knowledge as well with to this podcast.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like
like it,
here
it's
is the
refreshing.
difference of my way of deciding what is theatre is quoting a random online free encyclopedia article entitled Theatre. Not, referencing an actual practitioner.
Well,
Yeah. Jen's beat you.
that's what happens when you go to.
Yeah.
Just
But
come in with all the
as
knowledge.
pointed out, I'm here to provide the voice of the common man who just, instead has 2 writing degrees, but what do I know?
Well,
Yeah, and a master's.
Yeah, I know. 2 masters.
I'm really enjoying the idea of shutting the Royal Mile down, or at least creating a little path through it. That those you've always got the impatient tourists that no matter what barriers they put up for whatever reason, try and jump the barriers and just
Oh my God,
enjoying
that could be
these
the jump. Oh my God, I forgot about them barriers.
I have had just now a very good idea though while I was in that pause, which is, can I pitch to you all? In the standard cup of Mario Kart, there are 4 tracks. What about doing a Big 4 Edinburgh Fringe kart? Whereby shows from each different of the Big 4 have to put together kind of like boxcars and then race each other, and whoever wins these races round courses made at the Big 4 main venues gets to pitch their show.
Yeah, I like it. Can we let the free Fringe in? Can we let the other venues in just so that we can sort
there
of
can be
level
different
out the
leagues.
playing
Like,
field?
I mean, not that I know anything about football, but like football leagues. But so you have Free Fringe League, Big 4 League. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I had a quick
like
thought
it.
about with the tourist thing of like not taking notice of anything. Of course, Edinburgh locals, they hate the Fringe, so it's kind of their reaction as well to the Edinburgh Revolution. Will they join the revolution, or will?
Ooh, I like it. This is where it gets dangerous. I like danger. I think
'Cause
that's the joy of
Edinburgh
live
locals,
performance and
as
live things.
me and Matt discovered when flying, are scary people.
Oh yeah. I remember one of my first years being at the Fringe, I was flying during the Scottish referendum. And if you think that people in Edinburgh are scary and that the Scottish are blunt, give them a war that they're fighting about their Scottishdom and against foreigners. And it was a very interesting year and a very character building year. But I like your idea. I love the fact that we could also potentially have a little bit of an event or a streaming event around the whole building of the cart. I'm seeing kind of Robot Warsy style energies coming out of it. And then just having these go-karts running down the craziness that is the Royal Mile on the cobblestones as well. So that's like an engineering problem they have to solve. I like it. Okay, so final pitch would be mine, which I'm pitching a free Fringe show, because the one thing that I love about the Edinburgh Fringe, and it goes through from the free Fringe straight through to the main Fringe, is you can always go to them and say, I have secured a venue already. So if you know somebody who has a venue, or if you can weasel or sweet talk your way into a venue in the Edinburgh Fringe, you can then establish that as a venue with the main organisations. So my show is set in the Edinburgh Natural Skincare Company, which is a soap store on Cockburn Street, which is just off the Royal Mile. It's set in there because Soapbox, it's all about soap, and it was about soapboxing there. And the thing that really got me interested by this in this as an article is there's a line in the article about how blogging can be considered the modern way of soapboxing. It can be blogs are the modern soapbox. So I want to base it in the soap store, the Edinburgh Natural Skincare Company, because soap, and that was the first company that came up when I googled Edinburgh soap.
Did you just think you weren't going to stand a chance of getting a spot in the Body Shop? Or Lush?
No, I kind of was just like, no, I want Edinburgh. I want, you get the Edinburgh whiskey store, you get the Edinburgh gin store. I didn't want a Body Shop or a Lush.
Jem isn't going to go to like a brand store. She's going to go to like a hipster one that's like around two different corners and been owned by the same family for 2 decades.
Exactly. Shop local, shop small. So my show is a kind of a mixed bill show where a series of performers give responses to blogs. So kind of like it's gone straight on my head, the internet show that Sean's brought up before, where the actors read letters. So you've got two performers. Letters live. You've got 2 performers each performance. One reads the blog post, and this blog post can range from anything from a political thing to a think piece to a personal blog to fanfic. Anything you'd find on Tumblr, basically, which feels like a dangerous thing to say. But one person reads the blog, and then the other person, potentially even a comedian, if you want to take it down the comedy route, I wasn't 100% sure, they then respond. So they get onto their soapbox and respond to this blog. And that's my idea.
So I do have one question to say, Jem, which is,
yeah.
For one thing, I kind of like this because it feels somewhat faintly, because I've always argued, or would argue, that blogs kind of don't feel the same as soapboxing, because inherently the spirit of the soapbox is somewhat obstructive. It's putting these views out in public where people can't ignore them, whereas on a blog, if people don't want to read it, they just don't. So kind of putting this into a shop works to that extent in confronting people with these things if they're trying to get into the shop. But I'm more interested to know, how would you convince this shop to let you do this show, considering this could put a lot of people off from going in there and ruin their business?
I am very confident in my skills of sweet talking people. I know that with Edinburgh, I have struck some deals with venues before, and I don't know what kind of pixie magic lets me do that, but essentially I'd be going in there. To be honest, I've never been to the Edinburgh Natural Skincare Company, so I don't know if they've got a back room, but I do know that at the very least, the road that they're on, it could be just outside of that road. But I'd quite like to talk to them and say, all right, well, if there's it's the same deal you strike with any venues. If there's a performance in there, then it can bring extra revenue. It can bring people to you. And Cockburn Street is something that people kind of go past more than they explore the lower ends of that street. So that's where I'd be kind of saying is like, well, let's look at the space, and if it's practical, put it in there. Because they didn't have any photos of the inside of the shop on the internet, but that would kind of I'd be pinning this idea, Joe, on my powers of persuasion.
I mean, I could point out that there I asked you how are you going to convince them, and your answer was I'd convince them. But you know what? I feel like this is going to go down the route of me just asking you the question repeatedly and getting the same answer. Let's move on.
Can I put in and back up Jemma here? I've seen Jemma do this. If you knew how cheap she got, what was it? What was that venue?
We don't mention it.
The venue for cats and dogs, and how didn't you convince them that you haven't got anything from Wales in your programme, and we all studied at a Welsh university, and I'm pretty sure that knocked $2,000 off what it was.
Yeah,
I've seen her do it.
I've taken initial offers. I've taken initial offers and accepted I've knocked them down by 95% of what they were asking. And that, yeah. No, it's for me, it's always a case of appeal to the logic, weasel your way in, so kind of appealing to the logic, or talk at them until they give in.
Yeah, you've been there, Joe, where she just keeps going on and you give in. You know.
Yeah.
This is the power of producers.
I wish I had that power.
Jenny's sitting there going, yeah. Jenny's sitting there going, yeah, she directed me. No, she's done it before as well. I remember trying to convince Matt to do a singing bit in the show.
We've seen her do it. I like your idea, Jem. I like while you were talking, I thought, it'd be really good if you'd done a version of that show, but it's like the comedians responding to bad reviews. I feel like that's probably already a show, but I feel like that'd be really cool, like a comedian Jem show 0.5 or something like that, and it's like the comedians being told they're crap, and then going on their soapbox saying, I am not crap because of this, you are crap.
Oh, I love that. The justification of anybody who has a bad review. We read out the bad review, and then you go on the soapbox and you justify why that's not right.
Yeah,
I feel like that
is such a thing though. If restaurants, they get a bad review, and it's always a Karen completely just making a fool of themselves, and then the restaurant owner's actually no. Yeah.
There we go. We can expand it. It's not just comedians. It can be someone from Wings.
By the
got
way,
a bad review.
If you want to, you can have for free. Sean, I've just thought of a name for this potential show of people kind of complaining about 1-star reviews. Edinburgh Fringe.
Ooh.
There we go. See, that's why we have him around.
We have got so many shows out of this episode. It's fantastic.
I tell you what, Joe, you're so good at names. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what the name is, but wait till you hear the name of our new show.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, my God. We basically had the name for about a year before we had anything else.
Yeah, you think Edinburgh Fringe is good. Just you wait.
Oh, you wait.
Yeah, Joe, I need to speak to you after this about naming another show.
Okay.
So, I usually would say, let us know in any comment section that you can find, or pigeon carrying sessions onto us, of which pitch you liked the best. But I think we haven't got 4 pitches. We've got about 9 different shows out of this show. So this is the 9-for-1 special.
Well, I know we sort of discussed it, but are we gonna say if we had to go and watch one person's show, which one would it be? Because I know which one I would definitely want to see. I would definitely want to see Jenny's. 100%.
I need to see people try and tackle this. I want to see if the whole logistical thing of my show is how are you going to convince a small shop owner to put a show in there? How are you going to convince Edinburgh and the Fringe to close the Royal Mile? That's the show I want to see.
To be fair, when you messaged me and were like, okay, this is the idea of the theatre pitch, Edinburgh Fringe will support you, I was like, right, I'm taking my chance. Be bold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week
it.
is just going to be someone saying, so my idea is that the show takes place at the castle during
the tattoo. Forget the tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, during the tattoo. During the tattoo, Jen. There'll be someone in the middle just being like, hey, ignore that tattoo. Here's my jukebox musical around the music of Tattoo.
Man in a gorilla suit interrupts. tattoo.
It's just
would-
all the things she said 15 times. Good luck.
It's that show of Gorilla Man interrupts tattoo. I wouldn't be sitting there trying to get there early, or I wouldn't be sitting there standing in the queue that goes around the block, which is normal for him. I'd be fist fighting people to see that show. But that's brilliant. Thank you guys so much, and thank you everybody for listening. This episode has been a special for the Free Fringe, which is an amazing organisation that means that it's free for artists to come and take shows up to the Edinburgh Fringe. They don't have to sit and negotiate 95% of the venue price down. The venue price is zero for them on the condition that anybody coming to see your show doesn't have to pay a ticket price. So it's a great organisation for accessibility within the Ed Fringe, which I really love, and there are some amazing, wacky, crazy, fantastic things on. And this year, because of the worldly situation that we've been in, the Edinburgh Fringe, the PBH Free Fringe has gone virtual with the V Free Fringe. One day I'll be able to get that out properly without stuttering. But they're amazing. Go check them out. All of the links to their program are down in whatever description you're watching this on. But they're fantastic. They've got some amazing shows this year, both virtually and for the small fraction of people who can be in Edinburgh, live as well. So go check them out. And this has been part of the PBH Free Fringe. Check out our other stuff as well. Look up Jenny, give her a follow. Yeah, so where can people find you?
What is my Insta? I am always Jennifer Addey, that's my name. Jennifer Addey. Type it into Google, it will come up with something. I don't know.
There you go. And then it takes a while. It does. Sean will have put them on the screen somewhere around our faces, so we'll point it in all of the directions of those. Go follow, go enjoy, and have a wonderful Fringe. And thank you guys so much for listening. And thank you, Jenny, for joining us. This has been so fun. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Hang on, Jem, are you not gonna do you not care where people can find me and Joe?
I mean, they can find you on the screen. Okay, Sean, Shawnee B. Where can people find you?
Thank you, Jem. If you want to find everything that I'm up to, you can follow me at StillShawneeB on Instagram and Twitter.
And Joe?
And if you want to find me online, you can do so at NotJoeRonchka. That's NotJoeRaczka. That's on Twitter and Instagram. And at the moment, I'm going to be running a competition, which is, if I get to 250 followers on Instagram, I will post on Instagram again. Just once, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, and you can follow us here at OFitD on at OFITD_arts, or if you just Google OFITD Productions, it'll come up. It's all over this podcast. I'm at OFITD_Jem with a J, or you can find all of my other shows at Happiness Anonymous Show. All one word. So there you go. Thank you, Jenny. You've been fantastic. Thank you, Sean. You've been wonderful. Thank you, Joe. You've been actually quite tame. I was genuinely concerned when Soapbox came up, and I thought, oh, Joe plus Soapbox equals long rant.
Yeah, but
so well done. You've been quite reserved.
I get up on my soapbox every week. This is Tuesday to me.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
Well, thank you.
Exactly. That's the point.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.